Nilubis here has the direct experience. She's the editor in chief of IDN Times, a media that is close for our generation, actually, Bu. The young generation, and we'll learn many lessons from Ibu Nilubis, and she's also, I think, in many of the behind the scenes negotiation and discussions about the regulations on digital issues in democracy. So, without further ado, I'd like to invite Ibu Uni. You may give your overview about democracy in the digital age, please.
2024 is gonna be TikTok election. 5 years ago, I think started in 2016, especially if you heard about the Cambridge Analytica scandal in US election, it was Facebook election, right? So one of the best example is Philippine presidential election. Bongbong Marcos Jr., his father was dictator, the president in similar time with President Suharto, ruling the country for more than 3 decades. And then Bongbong used TikTok, pumping the information, not bad information, not black campaigns, but the information that he shared and his team share is about, during my father, you can see Makati city built. You can see this toll road built. That's because my father. And then if you read in Time magazine, one of the good example, this is from somebody that not the part of the political campaign, not part of the buzzer ya in Indonesia, influencer. If I'm not mistaken, his name is Toledo, very young, from some of the some cities in Philippines. He put the clip of video because the short video, right? TikTok, Instagram, more TikTok, short video. The the chats between Bongbong, elected president now, with about 90 years old General Juan Ponce Enrile, the important general that close to his father. And this general said that, oh, Philippines is safer during Marcos. Yeah. I mean, this is the young, not journalist. He's not have intention to do the fact checking, right? The journalist should responsible for doing fact checking. But he said that he don't know whether this information is right or not. But he think that, oh, this general living in that era, he must know the truth. He experienced that era. And the clip is become viral. At first, 20,000 views and then more and more. He interviewed by Time magazine. So not only the result of the political booster or influencer or camp of Bongbong Marcos, but this is the young people that neutral, I mean, not part of the political. But this kind of effect of how the TikTok really can influence shaping the mind of youth. Bongbong elected as a president. Because 36 years ago, this generation, you guys is not yet born, right? So easily can be influenced. And this also can happen in Indonesia and around the world. Indonesia is the second largest TikTok users. End of last year, around 100 million. the largest is United States, 120 million user. Can you imagine how TikTok will shaping the mind of democracy in Indonesia? And we are ahead of election in 14 February 2024. So that's about participation. We have the permanent voting list for the 2024 is around 200 million, right? And around 56 is millennial and Gen Z age, ya kan? And they are on social media. And Gen Z on TikTok. Yeah. We in the media actually stagnant media online. My media is fully digital. IDN Times. One of the new kid on the block, only 9 years old, but thank God we are now on top of 5 digital media in terms of users. Yeah. 51 million user, monthly active user. But the views, the metric is stagnant in the last 2 years. All of them, name it, semua, Kompas.com, Tribun, Detik. Ya. Why? Because changing behavior, especially among youth. We are digital, so we are not the disruption in terms of changing behavior. Yeah, even Google now not become the first priority for youth for searching. TikTok become the first option for youth to search anything. Remember during the case Verdi Sambo last year, the police general that involving in murder, the lawyer Kamaluddin now become the suspect for defamation, ya. Strategically since the beginning using TikTok to spread his information from his side, which is he's the lawyer of Brigadier Joshua, ya, the one that become the victim of the murder, and it's shaping all of the opinion, public opinion, ya kan? Very strategically choosing this platform because he knows and more people knows the youth now on TikTok. And election commission protect voters from this. Yeah? Because just a few months ago, over 34 million Indonesian passports were leaked in massive data breach impacting the country's immigration. And not only that, the history of data breach in Indonesia. We always become the easiest target for cyber attack. Like the hacker said, Indonesia, the data is there, easy, no protection. So the question, what Badan Sandi Negara BSSN doing actually? Ya kan? This country has recorded over 90 data breach in 4 years, involving big company and institution, public. Yeah? And the last one is Bank Syariah Indonesia. Yeah, May 2023, the ransomware claimed to have stolen 1.5 terabytes of data from the country Bank Syariah Indonesia. And before the social security institution, which has, I think, almost all of the population data, their data is on everywhere in internet. So back to the question, if one of the democracy in digital era is a voting online, can you imagine? Can we trust the process if all of this data that's stolen by the ransomware, actually almost all of them from the government-related institution. I want to touch upon regulation. This is very important and also very weak in Indonesia. Because I'm the media, the government now it's already started around 2 years ago to discuss about the publisher rights. You can Google. Actually, publisher rights. The idea is first to have fair and transparent revenue sharing between the big platform company named Google, Meta kan Facebook and Instagram ya, and also WhatsApp, TikTok, all of this big company. Because why? 80% of Indonesian media digital content actually distributed by this platform, mainly Google. But they get the money, right, for the advertising. This is not only Indonesian problem, Germany problem also that. This become one of the discussion during G20, yeah, how to get the revenue sharing and also how to regulate the algorithm to moderate the content. Yeah, everyone in the world has big platform, but I think Australia, I think 4 years ago, they have bargaining code only for revenue sharing, but only apply until today for 2 big media group. But Indonesia, inspired by that, proposed the publisher right now on the president draft desk, but not yet signed because kind of like so many input. But then in 25th of August, Digital Service Act implement by EU. I already learned about this. I think this is the best. If you want to regulate the platform, include it, yeah. Because the good thing is they measure to counter illegal goods, included content, new obligation on traceability of business user, effective safeguard to user, including the possibility to challenge platform content moderation decision, ban on certain type of targeted adverts on online platform when target children on when they use special categories of personal data such as ethnicity, political views, sexual orientation. A day before effectively implement in EU, Google release blog post agree on this, and they will enhance the transparency. My opinion is, well, actually we can inspire by the SA. If Google, if all of this platform can agree with the SA, which is covering 27 members of EU, more than 400 million people, they cannot say that we cannot agree this. They will agree that if this kind of regulation apply, included Indonesia and other countries. I think Indonesian government should collaborate, should become the open-minded to collaborate with public sector, private sector, included the white hacker, white technological expert. Don't put them as an enemy, like, I mean, the outsider, yeah, an outsider. In order to fight this big and become bigger threat, we need to collaborate. The government cannot do it alone. When the government is more than 50%, that's for me as a journalist danger. So the independence should be to make sure that the public concern can be heard significantly in the decision making process on this whatever body.